Greetings, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Ad Nastana. It's a pleasure to be back with you here on Points of Light Radio. I just got in from church, which is why I'm still a little dolled up here. Yeah, it's... I know what you're saying. I didn't even bother to shave today, or yesterday, or the day before, or whatever. But I mean, I'm so excited, though, to bring you this segment of Points of Light Radio because we'll be featuring an organization you saw here before. It's called the Oddfellows. But we're going right to the mother country of Odd Fellowship, right to the United Kingdom, right where they began. I can't wait. This is another one of those segments where I've been chasing this organization so long, and to finally be able to bring them to you is just wonderful, right? And my guest for this particular segment is Bourke Mancini. He is the Noble Grande of the Cornubian Oddfellows Lodge within the United Kingdom. He's also held some other titles within Odd Fellowship over there. But like I said, in the risk of being late, because I'm kind of hurrying in from church here, I'm just going to change my clothes real quickly, and let's go straight to that interview.
Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of light and secret knowledge wherever you may be, you are listening to Points of Light Radio, the podcast dedicated to taking you past the apron and behind the closed doors of lodges everywhere. And here is your host, Stan Miller.
Bourke Mancini, welcome to Points of Light Radio.
Good evening, and thank you for having me on, Stan, and good evening to all your listeners on Points of Light Radio.
Thank you. Now, you are the Noble Grande of the Cornibian Oddfellows Lodge in the United Kingdom.
Indeed, I am.
Several. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Noble Grande. It's the Loyal Cornubian Lodge.
Yeah.
Which, for those of your listeners who know the UK, it's based in the middle of a place called Cornwall, which is in the far southwest of the island.
Okay. Now, how long have you been an Oddfellow?
Well, I joined the Oddfellows back in 2016, so I'm now into my 9th year. And not only am I Noble Grande of the Lodge, but I'm also Provincial Deputy Grand Master as well of the Oddfellows province for this part of the country.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. First of all, what are your responsibilities as Noble Grande?
Well, basically, as doubtless you might know, Stan, Noble Grande is equivalent to sort of Grand Master or Chairman of a lodge, basically. So, basically, I sit over the lodge. I sit on a slightly raised platform with a desk in front of me. Yes. And I call the lodge to order, and the other officers of the lodge answer to me during lodge evenings. In fact, we had a wonderful evening just on Friday night there at Cornubian Lodge. And obviously the lodge is secured up, and then we go about our agenda business while that's the case. Every person who participates in the lodge ritual has to stand up and address me. We don't put our hands over our hearts like some Oddfellows lodges. We actually make a salute. And they salute me, and I salute them back. That salute is simply 2 fingers applied to the forehead, and that is the Oddfellows salute. And that's part of the salute of the Manchester Unity Order of Oddfellows. Basically, we get about lodge business. All lodges are opened with an ode, which is sung. It's an age-old ode. We have a lodge organist. The organ is played. We sing the opening ode, and then I usually pass over to the lodge secretary, who reads the minutes of the last meeting and so on. And then we get about business of adjusting or of attending to members' welfare, discussing upcoming events, and so on and so forth. We all dress properly, normally with a suit and tie on, always with collars, aprons, puffs, and I also wear white gloves. So it's all done quite formally. A lot of people, in fact, when they see us, confuse us with Freemasons, and we're not Freemasons, but there are a lot of similarities, of course.
Of course, yeah. Now you're a provincial deputy grand master. So
I am indeed.
what? So what are your responsibilities there?
Well, basically, we're part of the Plymouth and Truro district, and we have 3 ceremonial lodges in the district and a number of other friendship groups where Oddfellows can go and socialize, take part in a variety of activities. And it is my job to work in conjunction with the provincial Grand Master, who happens to be a lady and a good friend of mine, Tina. And it's my responsibility to work in conjunction with her and support her in all she does, and also to deputize for her if she is ever unavailable for an event. So we get on extremely well. And in fact, we had our district meeting, district annual general meeting, or as we call it, annual summoned meeting on Saturday this week. And that's the chance for any members to attend, to listen to proceedings, to ask us questions about our finances, to seek any advice regarding upcoming welfare and benefit allowances, which we pay. We are a financial district. And it was agreed there that we are probably one of the most friendly group ever. We don't ever have any disputes. And that really, of course, lays at the heart of Oddfellowship. I mean, our age-old motto, certainly one which has been around since 1810, is friendship, love and truth, which is represented by the 3 linked chain. And we get on in a friendly and amicable way. We don't ever discuss politics or religion within the lodge or at formal meetings. And it seems to work out rather well. All we ask of all our members, be they male or female, is that they have a belief in a supreme being. So, we get people of all varieties, all sorts of religious and spiritual backgrounds. All they require is a belief in a supreme being. It doesn't matter what that being is. We don't specify. And when they become an Oddfellow, they take a part in an initiation degree where they acknowledge that fact. So it's down to them, really. We don't force the matter. As I say, with the Oddfellows, we're very proud to take male and female members. And in fact, we're about a 50-50 balance, in fairness. And we treat all equally as sisters and brothers.
Well, the one thing I wanted to ask too, over here we have the Patriarchs Militant and the encampments. Do you have those
Yes,
over there
indeed.
for advancement? Do you?
No, we don't have the militant aspect. Of course, the Patriarchs Militant, I mean, we know an awful lot about our brothers and sisters stateside. And in fact, I've got relatives that are US citizens. A lot of us do. My relatives live over in California. But we don't have Patriarch Militant. There are a couple of different types of Oddfellow in the UK. We're the Manchester Unity Independent Order of Oddfellows, but there's also the Grand United Order of Oddfellows. They're very, very similar to ourselves. We get on fine. There's no irritation between us. What you would call an encampment, we would call a lodge. We have either local lodges, and obviously the one which I serve in myself is Cornubian, meets in a place called Redruth in Mid-Cornwall. But also our district, as it comes together, is also called a lodge. And that is the normal term that we apply to encampments.
But you don't have appended bodies or anything like that?
Appended bodies?
Yeah. Like
well, we do have...
Yeah, because
we do have friendship groups. Yeah, we do have friendship groups, and the friendship groups are normally attached to the lodges.
Now, how is the Oddfellows doing in the UK membership-wise, and how do you feel you can grow the Oddfellowship and move them forward in the United Kingdom?
That's an excellent question, Stan, and it's something which faces all organisations, and I think this is probably worldwide. Without doubt, COVID, the COVID pandemic, had quite an adverse, a negative impact on everything, not only us, but on a lot of other things. In fact, a lot of organisations fell by the wayside here, and I'm pretty sure the same stateside as well, due to COVID. The Oddfellows were clever enough to set up Zooms and other online conferences, conferencing. So we were able to continue in our activities right throughout by using the wonders of the internet, which kept us going, basically. As it stands in the UK, the Oddfellows is actually growing now.
Good.
We do, as I say, it is an organisation which depends on its financial products. We're worth, I think, nationally, the Oddfellows is worth just about 0.9 billion pounds, so probably just over $1 billion. It's a lot of money. It owns a lot of property, a lot of investments, and so on. A lot of that money is spent on publicity. But Stan, you or any of your listeners will know that are members of societies, not necessarily Oddfellows, but Freemasons and Rebeccas and so on and so forth. And I salute them all. The best recruiter to an organisation are the members themselves. And without doubt, it's members that introduce future and new members. It isn't, we can advertise, we can keep it in the public consciousness, but ultimately members bring more members. And I think that's probably the same, certainly in the English speaking world. I can't speak for the Far East and so on, but certainly my experience of any organisation, and I'm not only a member of Oddfellows, I'm a member of a couple of other organisations, international organisations, in fact. Mm-hmm. And the best recruiter are members themselves.
Yeah, word of mouth.
I was approached myself a few weeks ago by a lovely couple. Mike, we've known you for a while. What's this about Oddfellows? We see that you're in the press, you're in the papers with it. We read about it in the local press. We read about it online. Tell us about it. They've now joined. They paid their dues on Friday night, and their membership is now being processed. So, the best recruiters to any organisation are the members themselves.
Well, and what do you feel on a personal level that Odd Fellowship has done for you?
For me, it's opened the world up to me. I retired following a long career. Mm-hmm. In the public service. I was a copper, police officer. I served just over 30 years. At the end of that time, I you kind of move on, but you're left with an enormous gap in your life. And in effect, I was, not involved with very much at all for a little while, but in effect, that gap has been taken up by Oddfellows. And Stan, it's introduced me to the very best friends I could ever have. There are people that really can rely on each other, and many of them have relied on me. And that if ever you're in need, or I certainly have found this to the case, that if I'm ever in need, all I need to do is pick up the phone and ring a member, ring a brother or sister, and they are there for you in one way or another. I mean, it's my privilege. It is my privilege to serve my district, not only as Noble Grande of one of the lodges and as Provincial Deputy Grand Master, but I'm also a welfare visitor in the district. And, you really find out who your friends are. The minute a member falls sick, and if they let us know, of course, we ring them. How are you? Is there anything you need? We can do an awful lot to help you. And we've helped a lot of members that way, without any doubt at all. One of our members was housebound for a short time. We made sure that member had their grocery shopping, their food shop taken into them. We paid for their home care as they recovered. We visited them every few days, had a cup of coffee with them, took them, the member said, I'm bored, I could do with something to read. We arranged for books for them to read. It was an older member. They read rather than use the internet. So, and it's really that sort of organisation. So I find that the Oddfellows really does stick to its age-old and well-proven motto of friendship, love and truth. yes, we are straight with each other. We don't, tell lies. We are very truthful with each other. But everything that we do is done in a spirit of friendship. And I certainly find that to be the case. And I've made some wonderful friends, wonderful, wonderful friends. And a few weeks ago, it was my privilege. I was invited to attend a lodge maybe 400 miles away. And Stan, I was hosted and looked after and treated like a member of the royal family, and it was absolutely wonderful. It happened to be that lodge was happening to celebrate a special award to one of its members, the Meritorious Service Jewel, which is an international Oddfellows award. And I was invited to witness the presentation of that award, and it was a great honor. But I literally arrived there and I was looked after. And it's that sort of organization. It really is. I guess, we're not unique. I guess you might find that within other societies, other friendly societies, and probably within Freemasons. We get on very well, incidentally, with the Freemasons, extremely well, in fact, with the Freemasons. Recently, we had a social session with members of a local Freemasonic lodge. And there was no taking part in any ceremonial ritual or anything, but we had a good social session. We visited their lodge. We had a nice meal with them afterwards, and it was great. It's great to get on, and we recognize and respect each other's organizations, which is just the way it should be, I think.
Very true. Very true. Well, Mr. Mancini, I appreciate your time today. All the best to you and your lodge, and we hope to have you back sometime.
Well, Stan, it's been an absolute pleasure and privilege, and I do extend my fraternal greetings to sisters and brothers stateside and in Canada, where Oddfellows is very common, actually. I must say, recently we hosted a member from a lodge in Canada. They fitted into our ceremonial like a hand in a glove. They recognized it straight away, and it was great to look after them and to share a meal with them. They took part in the ritual of our lodge and to share a meal with them and so on. And let's just say this, Stan, no matter what our politicians do, we are ordinary people in this world. We're sisters and brothers of a great, great organization. And I do pass sincere and fraternal greetings to you all across the pond.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. That was Bourke Mancini, brothers and sisters. The Noble Grande of the Loyal Cornubian Oddfellows Lodge in the United Kingdom, among other offices he's held. Now, some things that really stand out to me in this interview. As you've always heard me say here on Points of Light Radio, fraternalism oftentimes develops local characteristics. Something I learned today, for instance, part of those local characteristics they have in the United Kingdom is there's no patriarchs militant, there's no encampment within the United Kingdom. However, they fill that by using other things, such as their little fellowship groups, in social activities, as well as, shall we say, advancement to Grand Lodge degrees and so on. I like that. That is something that you saw here on Points of Light Radio, like I said, where a group will sometimes have more localized characteristics. And from what I understand now, is things like the Muscovites, the Patriarchs Militant, and the encampment are more, shall we say, unique to North America. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. That's in many ways as it should be, as far as I'm concerned. But one thing I do love is what the United Kingdom Oddfellows do for their members. Just from what he was saying, how they really take care of one another. They really do. It is truly fellowship. And it was almost, when the pandemic hit, it was almost seamless how it just, they moved forward into Zoom meetings, never missed a beat on their meetings or their fellowshipping. And I love that, right? Another thing that really stands out to me here on this interview is Mr. Mancini got into Odd Fellowship once he was retired. He had a quite a lengthy career. I've had a conversation with him before within policing, and when he left, he went into this. I love it. So people, you wonder why people join. You've often heard me ask that. What drew people to fraternalism and so on, and this is one of those things where you can see. You've heard me say it's never really too late to get into fraternalism, to enter any type of fraternal body, and people join for different things. This has definitely filled, shall we say, a need or a role within Mr. Mancini's life, and I like that. This is what I do know that certain lines of work can lead people to be rather cagey and, shall we say, introverted, and that's one thing that I love about this. It has really opened up, like you said, a lot of different aspects to him, of things to him. So I love that, right? And that's we're here in Points of Light Radio to really help promote those aspects of fraternalism. If we've done one thing, I think that's one thing we have done, is we have promoted, we have really let the outsiders take that look in to see what it's really all about. Yes, we do our secret work in fraternalism, but what is it really all about? It's about fellowship, brothers and sisters, and you saw that manifest in this interview today. But that's all I have to say in this particular segment of Points of Light Radio. Before I go, as always, I want to remind you that this podcast is available on both YouTube and Spreaker. Please share, like, and subscribe when viewing Points of Light Radio on YouTube. I also welcome your comments and input. You can see the link to my to the PayPal that you can go there. You can hit on that link, go there, make a voluntary contribution to Points of Light Radio, and we'll use that to move the podcast forward. You can see the link to my Facebook page at facebook.com/Points of Light Radio, as well as my X handle, which is at PO Light Radio. My Bluesky handle which is at POLightRadio.bsky.social. I find that all hard to say. You can see the link to my Spotify channel, as well as my Points of Light Radio store. Brothers and sisters, it's been wonderful to finally interview a member of the UK Oddfellows today. It's been wonderful fellowshipping with you. Until we meet again, just step into the light.